Welcome into the Shop Management Show presented by AutoLeap. I'm your host, Will. This podcast will explore the experiences, challenges, and lessons learned of auto repair shop owners. We will cover every topic imaginable from EVs to technician shortages, right to repair, and so much more. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. AutoLeap provides an all-in-one cloud-based shop management software that helps shop owners better understand their business, increase efficiency, and grow revenue. You can find a link to schedule a demo with AutoLeap in the show notes of this episode. Today, I'll talk with Syed Kazmi, shop owner of CarTronics Auto and Truck Repair in Elgin, Illinois. We will dive into one of the most difficult issues facing the industry today, hiring and retaining qualified technicians. Syed, how are you?
Pretty good. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me today. So I'd like to start by providing some context for this topic on the technician shortage itself. So last year, AutoLeap gathered survey data from shops across North America in our 2022 State of the Auto Repair Industry Report. And we found with the data that over half of shops identify staffing as their biggest issue, and also that 3 out of 4 shops say they are concerned about a lack of qualified technicians in the industry. I wanted to open up to you. What is your general reaction to that data?
I must say I agree with what they're saying due to the fact that I experience it on a day-to-day basis. Well, that tells you that, it impedes the ability of a business to be able to provide good quality service. When you don't have a qualified technician on top of it, as well as just not enough technicians, it creates a situation where diagnoses and repairs are erroneously being done without the want to do it, but just still making the wrong decisions due to the fact that we don't have the right people to do it or do the diagnoses for you. Having a qualified technician is imperative, especially now, due to the fact that these vehicles are so complex. Gone are those days where you can listen to an engine and go, "Oh, I know what's wrong with it. You do this to it, and it'll work." It's not like that anymore. From the most minute problem to the most complex problem, it's a computer that determines what's going on. And it could be as simple as a $5 fix, and it could be as complex as a $5,000 fix. But to be able to decipher that information, to be able to read and understand what's going on, the lack of educated individuals that can handle this is extreme. I mean, I suffer with that on a day-to-day basis, trying to find them. And then sometimes you are priced out of the market to be able to afford them because they're such in high demand that certainly a bigger shop that has the means and the finances to be able to bring them on, it makes it hard for us to be able to attract that type of individual to come work with us, which creates a major challenge. Because you're trying to grow, you're trying to build your business, you want to get to a level where you become a good, solid shop with a smooth running operations, and it doesn't happen always.
Yeah, that's great context, and it really speaks to the difficult challenge ahead for a lot of shops in the industry with how complicated the vehicle technology is becoming and just the requirements you just were talking about. In terms of your initial approach, when you first started your shop in terms of hiring technicians, how has it evolved with all of those things in mind in terms of the new challenges that you're facing? How have you kind of adjusted and refined that approach over the years?
So initially, when we first started off the shop, being a brand new shop with tight money crunches, it was hard to be able to go, okay, let me hire a good qualified technician. But as we started to grow and started to build and started to bring in stability, such as the fleet accounts that we have, it gave us the opportunity, the luxury to say, okay, we're willing to pay more to be able to find better talent. And then the challenge that came to us was we would pay for these recruiting companies and all these, but we realized, I'd say about 6 months into it that, okay, we're just paying but we're not getting what it is that we're looking for. Just because an individual puts it on paper doesn't necessarily mean that they truly know what it is that they're talking about. Embellishment on their resumes really makes it hard to make a decision if this is an individual that you're willing to pay that kind of salary to. But what has happened is we have realized that, okay, we'll definitely bring on a technician, but we'll bring them on as an apprenticeship. But we don't necessarily go, oh, we're going to only bring on as apprentices, but we explain to them, hey, look, this is a relationship we're looking to build. We want to see how qualified you are by inaction versus, just saying, okay, you've got a resume, let's hire you, kind of thing. And so what that does is it gives us an opportunity to mutually decide if we are not right for each other's fit. And so that has given me an opportunity to bring on some solid technicians. I mean, within the last 1 year, I was able to bring on 3 solid, 2 diesel technicians and 1 technician that is an all-around technician, from electrical to exhaust work as well as welding. So it gives me a well-rounded group of individuals in my shop that have a goal to achieve, the end means, and that is, bottom line, everybody wants to get a paycheck, and that means you have to work towards it. That means you must have an initiative, a drive, and so these individuals, they tend to bring that to the table, and that helps. So that's how I've been getting my technician. Granted, it never is enough. I have 3 solid technicians. Well, guess what? I can use 3 more. But at this point, having those 3 are a blessing for me. That gives me an opportunity to really, truly build my business.
That's amazing to hear. And I'd love to hear more about the apprenticeship program. Like what goes into laying out the steps of that? When do you know when a technician is ready to take the step into a full-time role at your shop? How do you outline that?
Yeah, I'm blunt with them. I'm upfront and say, look, man, I feel that you're absolutely very much qualified for the position based upon everything that you've said to me and what your certifications and schooling and all that you have. And obviously the communication that we're having, it seems like you already are fluent with the lingo of being a mechanic, because so mechanics love to speak the mechanic language kind of thing, but doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're talking about. But what that does is it gives me an opportunity to bring them in and say, hey, look, I want to take a chance on you, as well as you are. I'm hoping that you're willing to take a chance on us. So because we want to have this marriage successful, let's date each other for 6 months and then decide at the end of 6 months which way to go. So I bring them on not just as an apprenticeship, but as a contractor, which gives me the ability to walk away from the deal where we're not obligated to them. Vice versa, they have the luxury to walk away from us without having to be committed to us, right? But that's a great period for us to understand. And that's exactly how I started these 3 guys. And you kind of already know within the first month to 3 months that, oh yeah, this guy's just gonna be, that's it, final, he's done. We're gonna sign, seal the deliver, and deliver the contract on it. If that is the case, then I would do it. But with all 3 of them, I decided, hey, I'm gonna give it the full 6 months. And I'm happy I did, because it also created that mindset in their mind that, hey, I need to earn this position rather than just get it just because I was a flash in the pan kind of thing. So that's how I have been training them. It's harder to do it the way I'm doing it, by the way, because it's not easy to find them. That means, how did I go and dig them out? Where did I find them from? I would literally talk to anybody that I came face to face, say, hey, do you know anybody that's a mechanic? You know anybody that's looking for mechanic work? Because I speak to hundreds of people a day. And, like even my customers that call me, hey, by the way, you know anybody that is in school that's going for mechanic or anything like that? And what that does is it just opens up the floodgates. Now, I do have to go hundreds of them and deny them because I just looked at, oh yeah, this is a waste of time. But out of that stack of hundreds, you get a good quality pool of candidates from which you can now pick and choose. And that's what I was able to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As someone goes through the apprenticeship program at your shop, what were you mentioned a little bit some of the positive qualities you'd look for. So what are some of those examples of qualities that really show that they could have a full-time role there? And then also on the flip side, what are some potential red flags that you're monitoring that would show that they aren't a good fit to work at your business?
Absolutely. Step one, my shop opens at 8 o'clock every morning, Monday through Friday. If the individual is not here at 7:45, which I will let them know all the requirements that I have as far as time wise and lunch and all that stuff. So if they don't adhere to it, then I already know it's over. Because if an individual cannot be on time, then they can never get the job done. There's no way you're going to move forward. It doesn't matter. You could be the greatest, technician on earth. But if you can't be on time, there's no future for you at CarTronics. That's one. Reason being is because my door has to open no matter what, whether it's sunshine, rain, snow, or a beautiful day like it is today. At 8 o'clock, the door must be open and we must be ready for business. Not standing in hand with a coffee and going, well, give me a minute, let me finish my coffee. No, you're in uniform and ready to go. So that's step one. So I'm very strict with that. Number two, the individual's demeanor as to how they interact with me as well as the individuals in the shop. Because when you're here, you must be here 100% and you must be able to, it's like a family. No matter how you say it, if you can't get along with the individuals or if you start becoming the irritant, then you're gone. And it doesn't matter again because it creates bad morale. And I cannot have an individual doing that in my shop. And we have let go of individuals because of that. Not one, but two different individuals, because I cannot have bad morale because it only causes an individual to not want to come and show up here. Why would you want to go anywhere where you're feeling like this is not a good, clean environment to be in emotionally? And then the other things that I look for are obviously your expertise. Because if you come and give me a diag and that diag turns out to be a bad diag, okay, maybe I might look over it once. But it happens like the second, third time, that's a major issue. And it could be as simple as you missed, and I know this sounds pretty, obnoxious, but you have to understand, I am in the industry to make money. I'm not here because I want to show up and sit in a dirty shop listening to, brakes being banged on. I showed up because I want to get a paycheck. So if you have a vehicle in hand and you are not noticing that there's a wiper blade with a plastic that's just hanging off the bottom there, and you don't make the recommendation that, hey, you need to replace these wiper blades, or if this is a fleet vehicle, which you don't even have to make the recommendation. You just say it, notate it on there. Wiper blade damaged, needs to be replaced. End of question, right? Because they're going to pay no matter what. They're not going to want their vehicle on the road with a busted wiper blade. Little things like that to obviously the largest things as far as doing the diagnosis on the electronics and the transmissions and engines, emissions and things of that nature. The other thing is your ability to maintain your work area as well as the rest of the shop. It's not, oh, this is not my area, so I don't touch it kind of thing. Every part of the shop is your area, right? So if you're walking by and you see oil leaking, or there's a puddle of oil on the floor, or if you see tools just strewn somewhere, either find out whose they are and say, hey, why don't you pick it up? Or you do it, but get it done. Not say, oh, well, I didn't even notice it. Or walk by and not notice it. These are the things that I'm looking for. On the other flip side, individuals that succeed with me are the ones that are go-getters, initiative takers, on time, in uniform, ready to go. They have a sense of, hey, I'm not going to drag my feet on a brake job because a brake job will start going into negative balance after a certain amount of hours. Now, I do keep my mechanics on salary. Most in the industry say, well, it motivates them when they're on the hourly per job basis. Yes, if they're not self-motivated, that's how you have to do it. But I have no room for unself-motivated individuals in my shop. Every individual that I have in my shop is self-motivated to the point where we have a small kitchen in the back, and everybody in our shop takes the initiative to make sure that that kitchen is clean because we all eat together there. So nobody has to be asked to, oh, could you take the garbage out? Could you please clean out that? Oh, that spilled over there. Could you pick that up? It is initiative driven, meaning, hey man, it spilled. It's second nature for them to clean up. Vice versa, if they see a guy struggling on a vehicle, it shouldn't be going, wow, this is not my car. It's not my project. I'm not going to go there. And that's how most mechanics are. In my shop, all three mechanics work together. My business partner is the fourth mechanic, but he doesn't have to do the physical work as much. But if he needs to jump in, he will. If he has to bang out a bearing, he will do it. And he gets down and dirty. If he needs to get underneath the vehicle, whatever it needs to be to help them get them the assistance that they need to get the job done. So these are the key items that I look for in my individuals here. Yes, it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but once you build them and they get a salary where they have that peace of mind that, hey, I will get paid no matter what, but then I also have to contribute no matter what, right? And so it's a loyalty kind of thing that is naturally built up between us all together here. So that is key. It takes time to build that, but it starts from top down. If management itself is incapable of being on time and or creating an atmosphere where you must be self-driven to do the things, then you can't expect anybody else to do it. So that's important when it comes to a shop. But that's how I came. I mean, now these employees have been here for a year. I'm home. The way we're going, it looks like they'll be here for many, many years to come. There's no upheaval of wanting to look for other places to go. Here's the thing. Money is always going to be a factor as far as pay. They're always going to, everybody, even I don't pay myself enough. That's always going to be the thing in a retail and work environment of an auto repair shop. But what I have done is I've gotten to a level, once we hit that 1 year mark, I speak to them and I go, look, what is your true comfortable salary that you want to be at? Up until now, it's been what I've been offering you. What do you feel like you should get? And almost always they're going to give me a whacked out number. But what that does is it gives me an opportunity to go, okay, let me work with them and go, well, the number you just hit me with, I can't even meet you halfway through, but I can meet you a quarter of the way. So what that does is then it tells them, okay, at least he's willing to meet me at a quarter of the way on my salary. He's worried about me getting paid so that I don't, go broke trying to work here. But at the same time, I tell them, look, you get evaluated every 6 months. So I will give you an increase every 6 months based upon your evaluation and obviously understanding the fact that the business has to also support it for you. So in a sense, they're kind of mini business owners thinking like it. So if they see more and more business coming in, then they understand that, hey, at the end of their 6 month review, they're going to get raised. But if they notice that there's no business coming in, then they know that it's happening because of somebody lacking somewhere. And so that has been a very good way of me being able to mitigate my payroll cost. By no means, my payroll cost is way up there. But even then, I'm not the top payer of paychecks to my employees. They must earn that.
So it sounds like you have a really thoughtful approach to company culture as well, actually laying out a development path for your employees and your technicians at your shop. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Other ways that you try to empower your team from a retention perspective? Because it's clear you have an outline of how to attract the right candidates to come and work at your shop. But from a retention perspective, what are the extra steps that you take to go above and beyond and keep quality people around?
So every 2 months, I subscribe to networks that have training classes that I pay for my technicians to go to. The beauty of it is they also make these training classes where it's after hours. So once we close, they can go in and they can do it online and they can actually show up in class. But one or another, it makes it convenient for them to be there, and they actually get a completion of certificate with either a pass or a fail, or not necessarily a pass fail, but more, hey, you need to work on this side of it. So that gives me also a benchmark to work with, when that happens. And so here's the thing. I make the offer to the person, hey, I have this class coming up. I'd like you to join. Is this something you want to do? If they're the go-getter that I know that they are, they're not going to say no to me. They're going to make it happen, even if they had other plans going on. But I also, let them know well in advance so they're not in a situation where like, oh my God, you didn't tell me. But what that does is it keeps that fresh knowledge in mind because they're constantly getting educated. Book knowledge is taking place. They're learning about new things like hybrid vehicles and things of that nature. So providing them that ability to get a free formal education in that sense, it gives them the reason to go, okay, at least he's willing to invest in me learning more information. And the other thing I do is this, I didn't mention this earlier. Each individual, when I hire them after that 6-month trial, when I'm now really hiring them to go into W-2 income, I then let them know that, hey, listen, this should always be a learning position for you for growth. Because in life, there comes a time where you're like just like a tortoise in a shell, you have to get into a new shell or shed that shell and grow a new shell, just like any animal that has to do it. So if you are that type of person where it says, hey man, I'm ready to grow and I may perhaps need to look for other places to grow, and perhaps because now I've maxed out myself here, I never want you to go, oh man, Syed's not gonna want to let me leave. That I hated any job that I worked at. If they told me that I didn't have the freedom to grow to another position, move on to a new location, I immediately said, oh, this is not a job I'm never gonna work at, because I don't want to get stuck for life at one place. So that option, when I put that thought into their mind, that gives them that ability to go, oh, I'm going to get this education. Maybe 2 years, 5 years, 3 years down the road, I don't want to be here with Syed anymore. I want to go to another company and spread my wings a little. Or maybe I want to open my own shop. Having that knowledge is important. It gives them that says, okay, one, I get to grow book-wise. Two, this would come in handy for my future. And that's what I'm looking for when I say furthering their education.
Yeah, that seems like you're really focused on developing a genuine connection with your team versus it all being about profit and, revenue of the shop and having that kind of surface level relationship. So it seems like that really makes a big difference it probably does make a big difference in day-to-day productivity and just everyone buying into the overall mission.
For a shop of my size to be able to turn over vehicles like I do, is very hard because you burn out individuals very fast, and so it's always a turnover for them. So from the beginning, I realized, I go, that is not the type of environment I want. I want individuals to feel comfortable working here and not get burned, but yet grow and become better than they were the day before. So a better mechanic or a better technician the following day because they gain some knowledge that they didn't have the previous day. And that is the type of a technician that you want, because what that does is they truly end up finding those problems in those vehicles. And I've had, we specialize in BMWs and all these other European vehicles. And let me tell you, I have BMWs come in here and these guys are at their wits' end. Some of the dealers even turn them away because they're like, you know what, we don't even have the software to even check your vehicle anymore because it's an older vehicle. So when it comes in and my guys are able to make that diag and it just closes the deal right there, I don't have to sell it anymore. Once the diag and the correct remedy is found, these guys it's a done deal. So having to have that, you also have to have loyalty both ways.
Absolutely. I also wanted to talk about the role of technology in your shop and how that also empowers your team of technicians to be successful, like the example you just mentioned. So how are you guys using software like AutoLeap to empower your technician team and help improve their productivity in the day, and then also just make life easier in general?
Well, the beauty of it is the fact that how smooth AutoLeap works with my technicians when they are doing a diag on a vehicle. Many a times, especially the physical ailments of a vehicle that is visible, a picture speaks a million words. So if there is a component that is physically broken and you can take a picture of it and then attach it to the estimate and send it to the customer, that makes a big difference, right? And for that customer to decide, hey, do I fix this or are they just BSing me? But having a technician to be able to do that, you'd be surprised how hard it is to get technicians to do that. They just don't want to do it for some reason. I don't know what it is. They're like, it's broken, just tell them it's broken. I'm like, no, a photograph will help. But once I set them up with that AutoLeap technician side of it, and they're able to write the notes in there, it makes it a lot easier. And then, these younger technicians nowadays are already comfortable with a cell phone and photos and type, and just they love to, type away all kinds of details. And so it makes my life easy, because when I have to take their verbiage and put it into diag form for my customer, the layman, to understand in plain American English, it makes it easier on me, rather than me have to get up and run back there every 5 minutes. Well, what do you mean by this? What is that? It's all there. And so, yeah, they're all, technology forward on these.
That's great to hear. Wanted to get back to the topic of the technician shortage itself from kind of a high level industry perspective. What do you think are some of the ways that the industry as a whole can begin to attract more qualified technicians out of school? Is it education? It's obviously a complicated issue and there's many factors that go into it. Based on your experience, what are some of the suggestions, some of the ideas that maybe shops as a whole and the industry should try to incorporate?
Working with the schools themselves to explain to them, hey, look, you should make it a little easier for outside shops to be able to recruit directly from your school. What I've noticed is, and it's kind of strange why this is, because especially in our local area, the local private schools as well as publicly funded schools that have technicians coming out of them, they don't have a place where both local employers as well as the students being able to get together and other than we'll have an event once in a while kind of thing, but like an online meet kind of a place where you put in your resume. And then what has happened is the industry's gone to that point where anytime you want to recruit somebody, you have to hire these paid services to be able to get a resume, and those resumes you're just getting like hundreds of them. Some of them are outdated, some are already employed somewhere else and things like that. But there isn't a cohesive way of schools saying, hey, local repair shops that are the ones that are going to hire will do a direct connection for you. And so if the industry can figure out a way where they say, okay, let's create a direct connection from the principal company that is hiring and the students in these schools, that would make it that much easier. But that, for some reason, lacks in our industry. I noticed that. I've called several schools, I've visited them, shook hands with the administrators and everything. Oh yeah, Syed, we'll reach out to you. And that was the end of that. I'm thinking, I am looking to hire somebody right now. I'm in hand standing here going, do you have a candidate? And you're the auto repair school, and nothing. So I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm missing something, but there's a major disconnect there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Have you tried to work in any type of youth program into your shop, or inviting, the community in to try to bridge that gap in a way in terms of the youth getting educated on auto repair?
There are many factors involved in that. When you're in an auto repair shop, there's insurance, there's liabilities, there's a lot of factors involved in that. Now, a big repair shop may be able to afford that kind of a program because there's a cost to it, right? Somebody has to bear that cost. A small shop, it would be very hard to do that, because immediately the first thing that kicks in is just in case if something happens and an individual gets hurt, then who's on the hook, right? And the shoppers. So that is one of the main reasons why I've shied away from that, where I want to invite them into the shop, The other thing is this, yes, in the industry, you don't want to invite everybody on earth into your shop because you've got extremely expensive equipment, tools, and repairs taking place that you don't want it to hinder as the repair is going on. So there are many factors there. What I was trying to say is local community colleges that have automotive programs, that have students that are studying to become technicians, or local, for-profit automotive institutes that are out there. They don't have any kind of a bridge between if a local repair shop says, hey, do you have a website, or do you have a place where we can come in and look at individuals that you have that we can possibly entertain for a apprenticeship program, and or even the apprenticeship programs that they have, the hoops that you have to jump through just to get to it. It was like, okay, well, by that time I hired somebody else off the street kind of thing, right? So having that helps. I mean, having that kind of a connection would say, hey, this individual is in school right now studying this. For example, I asked the question, hey, do you have individuals that are studying vehicle electronics? Oh yeah, we've got individuals studying and understanding how the components of a vehicle electronically work and function, and how to test it for shorts and things of that nature. I go, great. How do I get them as a candidate to even come on board as part-time? Because if they are a good fit for me, I can always build them up from part-time to full-time once they graduate. And rather than them wanting to go somewhere else, they already have a job in place. Well, no, the program, they just go look for jobs for themselves. That's the answer I'm getting, and from the industry. And I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy.
So it sounds like that networking process between should begin way beyond, way before they're even finishing and then looking for a job. It should begin while they're in school, building those connections.
Exactly. But not just that, but the school itself should say, hey, let's create a portal for prospective employers to be able to choose from a pool of candidates that are there. But I don't know where the disconnect is as to why that is not taking place, because that would bring in a pool of great individuals for everyone to be able to hire, to have a good set of individuals, rather than, student graduates, all right, you're done, have a nice day, and then they take their resume and they start shopping around for jobs. Or the other thing is they go and put it into one of those paid sites where they don't have to pay for their resume to be on there, but then the company that is looking to hire them is now having to search through a pool of your resume, which they may or may not see. There's no guarantee that they're going to see your resume. So see how there's a major disconnect there that's taking place.
Yeah, it seems like it's almost like too many hurdles on both sides. So then that connection never gets formed when it needs to. That seems like a big piece of it.
And so the automotive industry has and will continue to suffer until they get to that point of like, okay, even if there are few candidates, but at least you create that, opportunity for everyone that's in the industry that is doing auto repairs to be able to hire individuals to bring on board. And here's the other thing. We all, as automotive professionals, and especially the owners, have to come to the realization that there's more than enough vehicles for everybody to repair. You will never dominate the United States. You're not going to be the only shop that's going to provide every single repair. So, it's okay to share the wealth. And that's how I look at it, right? It's okay to collaborate together. Not everyone has to have all the equipment and be the multi-repair shop of everything. You should be able to specialize in certain things, like such as in the industry, there are certain components that are specialized, like transmission shops or engine build-out shops. These guys have in their specialization. But the general repair shop guy still isn't going to be the guy that does the tires, the alignment, the tune-ups, the oil changes, everything. So if we as auto repair shop are able to refer each other, just like doctors, don't they have a referral network in doctors? So wouldn't it be a great thing to have a referral network within the automotive industry? Oh, here's an auto body shop. Here's a electrician or electrical repair services shop. You're having suspension issues. Well, this company is the one that specializes in suspension. Things like that. That would be good. I think that would only enhance our industry.
That's a really good idea. Definitely taking notes on that one. If you had 3 pieces of advice to give to a fellow shop owner based on these issues that we've discussed today in terms of hiring, attracting the right candidates, and then also the retention, keeping them around, keeping them empowered in their roles. What would those three pieces of advice be?
Well, number one is the relationship that you create with that individual. If you cannot make a connection with them and there's a separation between you and them to the point where, there's just a number, then you set yourself up for failure. Number two, you can't demand something out of them if you yourself are not willing to do it. And a simple demand is if you're not on time, then don't expect your employee to be on time. So your shop's not going to open up on time. So that is imperative. Those two they go hand in hand. And then the final thing I say is this, just as you are there to make money to put in your pocket to live a good life, look at it as the same as your employee. Because if they don't enjoy in the fruits of your rewards, that your earnings, then they have no desire to be there and you will continually have a turnover. With me, so the last 6 years that I've opened up, I've had a total of 10 employees, and out of those 10 employees, I only have lost 4. 2 of them because I released them myself, and 2 because they just moved on to other industries. They didn't even want to be in the automotive industry. But that's not bad for 6 years of having that. And then replacing them with 3 employees that are just heavy-duty powerhouses, right? So to do that, you must cultivate and you must build that relationship with them consistently. And you must have a line of communication with them. If you are never seen, they'll come in, if they come in and leave from the back door and you don't see them for a week and then all of a sudden you go, hey buddy, how you doing? That's not a relationship. There must be a good morning every morning and there must be a good evening, have a nice day at the end of the day. It is imperative to do that. And I do that with every single one of my employees, including my business partner, because it is a mindset of, hey, I want to see you and I'm happy to have you in my environment.
That's a great place to wrap up this conversation. Thank you very much for joining me today, Syed. We'll be back soon with the next episode of the Shop Management Show presented by AutoLeap.